Hello everyone, my name is Error, and this is my 1 year hardcore tour. I am a TV head streamer that streams over on Twitch, which by the way, you should follow. Oh, I got an Atlas shell! While I'm going around and showing off the farms, I will be popping up who had done these farms, and of course I will be linking their video in the bio for people that want these farms to themselves. Also, please stay tuned for the end of the tour. I will be announcing the main project for 2026. Now, please enjoy the tour. So at spawn, we have the first ever house I made in this world. However, it wasn't made here. It was actually made over at Project Villager, which is something we will get into later on. Now, there's some stuff inside that I do want to show off before we go downstairs. We have my shulker box of all the first things that we got, such as the first star, we have the special dragon egg, our first dragon head, pig step, tears, wither rose, our first totem, which I think we got in a, what's it called? Woodland Mansion. We had the first Woodland Mansion map. Here's the interior. I know it's messy. We have a lot of unnecessary shit in here. Well, the only unnecessary things is the shulker boxes. Outside of the house, we have the chore board, which the night before streaming, what I'll usually do is I'll put in tasks of what needs to be done for a stream, and I will complete them, or at least attempt to complete them. This is where we used to have a couple of chickens on top of a hopper. All their eggs would just drop in here, and we would use the eggs to basically get wither roses. Here are my ton of allays. I need to breed them again. Here's the nether portal that I like to keep closed up. We have this little villager breeding station, and I'll just use it for the villagers that are downstairs, or for the villagers over at the farms. Nothing too special. I do often have special zombies kept in boats, so don't worry about them. We have pandas and a camel that somehow got in there. I don't know how he got in there, but we got 5? I thought we had like 6. We also do have a ton of chests out in the middle of nowhere because of all the construction that I went through. This was for the station downstairs. That I don't really know what that was for. This stuff over here was for the basement or the storage room. Now let's go inside and actually take care of everything. Downstairs we have the villagers that I trade with for easy money and golden carrots. These little guys over here give me all the golden carrots I need for 1 emerald. And also melons. Not that I really need the melons, but they're there. We also have an auto smelter. This is for ores, and then this is for like non-ore essential stuff. We also have the dripstone lava station where I can just speed by and collect all the lava that I can get and put them into this box. This is the fuel box, and this is the box where I have to put the stuff that I want to cook in. Over here we have a buttload of chests. Originally, this place was going to be like a little storage room, and I was going to build like a miniature storage room underneath all of this. But in between the chests, I had copper golems, and unfortunately the copper golems wouldn't put them the way that I wanted them because my stupid self did not put blocks in the regular chests beforehand. But also the copper golems were slow, so I decided to just scrap the whole putting the stuff up here. Instead, I decided to make it into like a bar. So we have all of this to make potions, and over here is where I will put the potions in, and then if need be, I can just grab the potions and run off to do whatever I need to do. And right here, you can see that we have 2 trapdoors. So let's go ahead and go down. Those 2 trapdoors helps me get to the real storage room. In here, what I had wanted to do was make it look like the end, but also have it towards the point where I can make it look like an end fight. But I need to get a mod to pose the armor stands. And then over here is where the real fun starts. It looks a little bit funny because of the chunks that I haven't loaded. Plus of the render distance that I have. So in here, I wanted it to look like the end, sort of. Each section has its own purpose. So one is for stone, one is for wood. One might be used for specifically nether stuff, one specifically for the end stuff. But I haven't really got to that part yet. I haven't thought that far. Let's go up here. I like flying on top of the roof. Ow. So down here, I tried to make the ship. I don't think it's the best, especially this bit. I might need to fix that here in a little bit. But I tried to replicate it as much as possible. I don't think it cut the case. Oh well. We don't talk about him. This whole ship bit was supposed to be for filling it up with important items, such as the end egg, any animal deaths remains, and anything else that I deem that is important. All the walls and ceiling is made out of skulk, because I couldn't be bothered to add a layer of glass to try and like colorize to make it more purple, but I think it looks good. Alright, now we're gonna move back to the hallway, and over onto the left we have a skeleton farm. We have a skeleton farm. It's not very good, but it does its job. Alright, so you've seen most of Spawn Chunk, so we're gonna go ahead and move over to the farms. So first we have is the iron farm, this little guy. Where's the contraption? Hold on, let me fix this. Alright, fix my eyes. Up there. Hello? Up there it is controlled by 6 villagers and 2 zombies. Originally it was supposed to be 1 that's supposed to sit right in between those 2. However, I did some upper and it wasn't loading as much. So I would get like 1 iron golem like every 10 minutes or something like that. So I decided to fix that and make 2. In the back, we have a little hidey hole for when I need to go AFK at the iron farm. We have my bed, an ender chest, which I will get into this later, like near the end of the video. And down here is where I have all of my chests. Now the reason why there's no ladder is because I used water to climb up, so let me place down some water. So we have a good couple of layers of chests, some of which is already full at the bottom, some aren't. Might be exaggerating a little too much with this, but I like to go AFK here a lot, so hey, whatever works, works. I also don't need iron as often, so that also gives it the chance to fill up a little bit more. So next we need to fly over to the second island. We need to get more fireworks here soon. So first we have the bee farm. At first glance, it's kind of crowded, which I could agree with you. I need to get rid of some of these bees. I don't know what I wanted it to look like. I just wanted it to look cute. But you might be wondering, which I don't think you'll be wondering too much, where I will be getting all the honey and the honeycomb, which down here will fix those thoughts. There's so much mushrooms. Why is there so much mushrooms? Hello? But I wanted it to look like the inside of a hive, I guess, with these little bits. Plus, I needed some lights down here to brighten it. There's two sides. One is for honeycomb and one is for honey bottles itself. I think this side is the honey bottle. Yep. This one's for the honeycomb, which we have a lot. And there is supposed to be... there is supposed to be a minecart that goes around and picks up the honeycomb and the honey bottles, but I have no idea where this one is at. That's kind of scary. So let's move on now and head over to the other side, the sniffer farm. This one is very simple, really. We got two sniffers here, which I think I might make more eventually. And he's already doing his job. Look at him. Pitcher pod. But all that's really happening down here is the two sniffers picking up the seeds and the pitcher pods, and there's a minecart underneath that goes by and collects all the pitcher pods and seeds, comes up here, and sits right on this little rail and does not leave until every single pitcher pod or every seed is in here. Next, we're gonna go over to this little egg farm. It's stupid, really. The only reason why we have this farm is so that I can use the eggs for weather roses. I feel bad. Only a little bit, though. Next up, we have the watermelon and pumpkin farm. I need to make it so that this is easier to access. Over here, this side is very much down because the watermelon slices are much faster to fill up, it seems. Over here, not so much with the pumpkins. It's not as deep, that's what she said, with the chests. But the use for these two are just money, really. I'm money hungry. We don't talk about it. Maybe I'll find a use for them in build, but I'm not seeing that as a plausible option. Yeah, that one's like staying there for a good while. Alright, cactus farm. It's simple. It gets caught by the fences and will break and go into the little tube. Down here we have the collection system, which is, again, deep-ish. Honestly, the only reason why we have this is for dye and to feed camels that we have over at spawn. We have a lot of them. Too much of them, dare I say. Now onto the big bucks, we have the sugarcane farm. The sugarcane will grow up one block, and we have a little detector that will activate these pistons and knock off the second layer of sugarcane, and we'll go down to this little layer here of water and be collected here. It is two-sided, so we get double the amount of sugarcane. I don't know why we have that, or that. Next up, we have the bamboo farm. I don't really know why I decided to have this. The only reason why it's good for anything is for wood. So, infinite wood farm, I guess. I need to figure out how the auto crafter works so I can turn it into wood and have infinite fuel, I guess. Because these bamboos like, grow really fast. Don't shoot me. Over here we have the bamboo farm, which is really just being used for bone meal. It is two-sided, just like the other two farms. I like to keep my farms looking the same, especially if it's story built like this. So infinite fuel and infinite bone meal, I guess, because this grows really fast. This is supposed to be the original bone meal farm. It's just a plain sugarcane farm. That is spooky. Alright, we're gonna go to the back a little bit because we did skip over a couple of little guys. Over here we have the stone farm, which if I just need easy and fast stone, just come over here and get some when needed. And all of it just gets thrown into here. Over here we have the wood farm, which it's good and bad at the same time, if that makes any sense. The only reason why it is bad is because, for one, it doesn't get all of the wood, which is why I had to add this second block, but also because I can't do 4 saplings, the 4 sapling woods that I like, which is the pale oak and the dark oak. Those two are my favorite trees. But I can, in fact, use, where is it? Cherry saplings. Let me just do a little demonstration. Is it gonna boom all over me? That's what she said. And it just breaks. However, it sometimes leaves that, and I have to wait for it to break. So it is good, but it's not the best. And it usually, all the saplings just gets thrown up and goes into this little system and gets saved into here. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and all that. Are you done? No. Oh, it did a boom up there. I don't like that it did a boom up there. Why did it do a boom up there? Ready? I find it fun to watch. God damn it. And that's the only, like, that's another bad thing about this farm, is that the tree leaves will just grow from the sides and it won't be caught in the water. So let's go to another farm away from here. Over here we have the sheep farm. Over here I have the sheep farm. We have all of the colors. We have white, gray, black, brown, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink. And then if I need any more sheep, I'll just throw them into here. I don't know why I have this open. It's so stupid. Hang on. Let's go down here. Down here I had to do, like, another stacking of wool because of how much wool we get. Do I have my water bucket? Yes, I do. So, we get a lot of colors. Alright, over here we have the 2 moss farms. I think this is the second to last farm that we have here. We have one for regular moss and we have one for the pale oak moss. Both of them does the same thing. They just have different uses. We turn that one on, and upstairs there's 2 sides that makes stone, and we'll get pushed out into the middle here. Down here we have the moss block that gets hit with bone meal and will interject onto the top layer here. And then it'll break when the stone gets pushed in, and water will push it over into these hoppers, and we'll get moss. It is the same over here, except all that we really get is pale oak moss blocks and the carpets. I think I have to go to the actual biomes to get the flowers, which is really sad. It is slowly getting to that time for the last farm that we have to fly all the way over here for. The last farm that we have over here is the resin farm. I feel like a zookeeper, like, talking over here. While it is still daytime, let's go ahead and do a little show and tell. So this little button stops all of the movement of the upper layers and the bottom layers of the pistons from pushing. These pistons' job is to push off the creakings from this block because the creakings are supposed to spawn on to here. And up here, it is supposed to shift the blocks underneath the creakings hearts from side to side, activating more creakings, but also shaking off the resin molecules. Molecules? I don't know if I want to use molecules, but I'll just let it show off itself. I should also mention that when all of the creaking spawn and get pushed out, they will slowly fall to this little contraption here, and I can just easily hit them. When I look at them, they will stop and they will flow into this little corner over here so that I can hit them and they won't really move. I get a lot of resin from them. Or when I wait for nighttime so I can show you. And here they go. They're slowly getting pushed into a corner. Just gonna wait for them to drop down. Are we good? Nope, we're still getting more company. That is okay. I know there's another one. I hear it. There it is. Alright, let's go. And dude, I love hitting them because of their molecules. And they look so pretty when I hit them. I promise, I'm not weird. I will show a clip of what I mean. I'm not weird. And usually I'll get a lot of resin, but I don't really come over here because there's not a whole lot of reasoning for me to come here. And look at them, they're just ready to attack me. Can I help you? Go away. But I get a lot of resin. I don't really need the resin, but I have it. Alright, we need to go back to spawn chunk because I remembered that we have a hidden farm. Alright, and we've made it. Here is my skulk farm. What happens is that the zombies will drop in from there, go down there, and we'll slide over here. Come on, zombie. Just gonna wait for it. You got it? Or do I need to scoot back a little bit? Because usually that's how it goes for some odd reason. Come on, you were in there. Maybe the zombie will help him out. And they go up there, and they slide a little to the right, and then they will drop down, which will activate this guy. I have to keep on checking myself, because I'm scared that it'll spawn in a shrieker, or a sensor, or anything above the... anything above. But I get all my skulk, and all my skulk veins. I'll sit here and just do what I have to do. Usually I come over here with stone so that I can fix up everything. Alright, and that should be about it for the spawn chunks. We need to fly over to Project Villager, which is to my left. Actually, I'm a liar. There's a few things that I need to say over here. So over here, when I moved the house from Project Villager to here, I made this so that I can get more money. And then I also made the cow pit. I need to breed the cows more, but cows, I don't think I have enough, really. Over here, when I have an absurd amount of ores, what I'll usually do is come over here and stack up as much as I can and just mine down until every pillar is done. All of the ores will drop down and get collected into a hopper that's underneath the stone pillar here. And there is a lot of chests that... What are you doing in there? There's a lot of chests that are underneath this little section here. I do want to say, however, while I was working on the storage room, there was a thunderstorm. There was a thunderstorm. And prior to working on the storage room, I had brought over the spruce biome, pigs. And a thunderstorm happened. So now I got 2 zombified piglins on a leash. It's stupid. But it's cute. Okay. Now we can go. Alright, and we are slowly arriving to Project Villager. You will see it here soon. I get so tripped out over here now. Because I didn't have, like, the texture pack for the glass before. Anyways, so down here, it is the first part of Project Villager. Each section will have a different kind of villager along with a house that correlates to said villager. Each slice will... Some slices will have farms that correlates to the villager's job, and yes, there will be a section for the nitwits. And then there will be one section for breeding all of the villagers. The lines in this little section here was inspired by the cornucopia from one of the Hunger Games. I'll have to put up a photo, but this little area was definitely heavily inspired by the Hunger Games, the cornucopia. I think it's the 3rd movie. I don't know. There was lore for this, but you gotta remember that I started making this like all the way back in July, August. But I had forgotten the lore. Down in this fountain, there are 4 trapdoors, 2 that go down and 2 that go up. but the ones that go down lead over to Project Villager Part 2, which is all the way over here, and we need to go to bed. Okay, so earlier I said that I like to collect the special zombies. Um, yeah, I have a lot of them. Some of them are in dirt shacks, some of them are just out in the open. These are villagers that I kept for this little project. Nope. Okay. Glad I didn't fully go on with that. So these circle bits are supposed to turn into pillars, where I can like look out and whatnot. Can I walk, please? Thank you. Over here is where all the zombies and all the special guys will be dropped down. So in these little sections here, there'll be one for leather, one for copper, one for iron, chainmail, and of course the rare diamond, though I don't think I'll ever get that. And then we will have the special zombies and special wither skeletons, special piglins, and then we'll have one specifically for villagers, because what I plan on doing is getting all of the enchantments from the villagers and making them at least cheap-ish. I kind of want to make this like look nethery, I guess. So I wanted black glass up here, and then underneath this part will be lava, and then underneath will be whatever is supposed to protect the layer underneath the next room. Over here we have my my shitty interpretation? Yeah. My shitty take on Pale Oak Village rooms. I made like little curtains here. I think it was cute. Let me close that. But I think it's cute, personally. It's cute enough for me, so that'll have to do. Over here we have a little farm. This will bloom during the night, which is cute. However, the reason why we have these little village guys is to breed them, and then once the babies are made, the babies will fall into a little trap and will be transported over to this side. Over here, we're going to have like a little laboratory type thing where the adult villagers will be turned into zombie villagers. I can't English anymore. And will be turned back into regular villagers. And then once they are turned back, they will be sent over here, and then will be dropped down in this little pit. And that's about it for this little section. And if you think that the farms over at spawn were the last ones, you are most certainly wrong. Because we have some all the way over here. Alright, and we are slowly arriving. So here is the little area for my gunpowder farm. What'll happen is that creepers will spawn inside here. There will be snow golems in here that will shoot at the creepers, making the creepers aggro onto the snow golems. And in here there is a little drop that will send all the creepers down here, and they will kill themselves by staying on these little campfires, and we get gunpowder. And that is about it for this little area here. However, we need to go over into the Nether and swoop by a little memorial type thing. No one died, okay? No one died, I just want to say that, but like, it's of a chatter that doesn't really come into chats anymore because of their time zone. They were only really able to pop into streams during the night, and I don't really stream at that time as much anymore. But hopefully, this upcoming year, I do stream at night. And you guys are not allowed to see into the nether just yet. Alright, and here is the zombie farm. Over here, it's plain. We got a zombie farm. All the rotten flesh just goes down to here. Can you not die, please? Just die. Thank you. And then, if we go over here, we have these little guys. Now, these guys are the important people. This is the memorial bit. So, it's the baby zombie that's important. Um... Sugar baby furry with the cat smirking emoji. Specifically for that guy. This guy, he hadn't played Minecraft, or he stopped playing Minecraft around 1.14 to 1.16. And I was streaming on my offline channel during this time. I don't know exactly what I was doing, but he popped in and we were just chatting for a little bit. But yeah, he hadn't seen the new updates and he wanted to see a lush cave. So I took him to a lush cave and the guy was just astonished. And it was really nice to see him, like, excited over the new updates. But oh yeah, the reason why he was curious about the lush caves was because I was messing around with the pale oak biome, and he was wondering about the lush caves and the axolotls. So I took him down to a lush cave and showed him the lush caves and the glowberries, the axolotls, the uh, tropical fish and whatnot. He he had apologized for, like, quote unquote wasting my time, but honestly, I don't mind showing people the new updates and showing people around the world. And I found him saying sorry for wanting, like, a little look ridiculous. I found it ridiculous that he was saying sorry. Alright, time to leave this place. Shout out to that guy. Right, here is a little flower field. I made a allium because it's one of my favorite flowers in the game, and I thought it was really pretty to add. But I haven't added any of the farms yet because I wanted to do it in different sections where I can get different flowers. So since there's a cherry biome, what I'll do is I'll set one in there, then we got a sunflower field, put one in there, and then there's roses over here. There's tulips, there's rose bushes, there's a bunch of different flowers around here. So I want to make different, like, farms for these so that I can easily just pick them up and then carry on with my life. On to the next one. And here we have easily arrived to the squid ink farm. It is real close to the flower field, so we got a 2-in-1 basically. Let's go ahead and drop down over here. And we do have a 2-in-1 farm here. So we have one for the black ink farm, or black ink sacks. What happens is that the squid will spawn into these little water pillars and will either drop to their death or they will swim down and get sucked into the magma blocks and get burnt to death. It's kinda kind of graphic if you think about it. But I do get a lot of ink sacs from this. I do get fish and bone meal from it. And down here, we get the glow ink sacs. Man, I love saying sacs. Hold. Hold. But I had to make this one a couple layers lower. Let's see. Why 22? I thought it was a lot lower than what it really was. And it's just a copy and paste from the top to back down here. The original farm tutorial that I had was telling me to do it in a completely weird way, so I tested my luck and did it the same exact way that I did up there, and it works all the same, really. Alright, and here is the slime farm. The slime farm is down there. I love to do my pixel art, I guess, for the AFK area. Let's go down. Let me make sure that I have... Yep. My elytra is good. Shit. Alright. So we have a iron golem trapped in these walls because we will have big slimes that will spawn over here. And they will try and attack this guy, but he will hit the slimes once, the big slimes, and then the second and last level of slimes will jump down here, and this little lava pit will kill them every time they jump up into it. Over here, we have a trapdoor that goes into this little section, and will give us all the slime balls that we need. I don't think it's very efficient, but it does its job. But I also haven't been here long enough to test out how efficient it really is. Alright, so here is the witch farm. It may seem small, but it does work. It works really well. So up here, we have a boat that goes into a circle that presses onto some pressure plates. One pressure plate is connected to the redstone while the other set isn't. The boat will continue to go into an infinite loop. We'll slow down onto the second one to give this little area time. But this button activates the trapdoors that are inside to push water out onto platforms and push out the witches onto a little belt that will inevitably push them down into a section down here. It is very loud. It is very loud down here. The reason why it is because there's like 24 or 23 minecarts in here. The reason why there's 24 or 23 is because entity cram. But we get gunpowder sticks, redstone, sugar, and glowstone, some spider eyes, and glass bottles. This farm was kind of just a fun one to do. Nothing like too special about it. Also, peep out my little art again, because I think it was pretty cool. Alright, so now it is time to do the tour of the Nether, which I'm really excited for. Because I did some work on this. We have a little train station, but I usually use my elytra. However, for this, I will use a boat. Alright, I got a boat. Let's place it down. So what I want to do first is go over the farms that I have made on the bedrock roof. Did I really make it that close? God damn. Stop! 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 I'm going to cry because of this stupid thing. Alright, here is the first farm. But we'll go over here and do this one, since this is a pit stop. Over here we have a basalt farm, or also known as bath salts. And it's easy, it's fun. A mine, and it gets collected down here. Nothing too special about it. I will explain why all these animals are up here in just a moment. But now we have the gold farm and the rotten flesh farm. Alright, so this is a little crowded down here, but I will explain why everything is what it is. So all of the zombified piglins get attracted to the turtle eggs and will drop down into this little pit. Over here, what I have to do is shoot them with a bow. Non-enchanted, by the way, or else they will just die instantly. Shoot them and all of them will aggro and come over here. I have at least like 4 rows of hoppers so that I can get as much of things that they drop as possible. We need to drop down in here. Ow. And what I do is over here, when I'm sorting out all of the materials in here, and we have leftover shovels. Yeah, shovels. Swords. I'll collect them. Or I'll just throw them into a little pile and keep on throwing them until I get to a point. Which, don't I have, like... Yeah, this little thing. So, this spot right here, what I do is I load up my golden swords. And usually I'll de-enchant them and get XP, but we're not going to tonight. And what'll happen is that all of the swords will go into this hopper and will go into here. And over here, it is a auto, like... That sounds like someone's doing a do. It is a repeated shooter, I guess you can call it. But I'll hit it, and then all of the swords will go out. Very simple, very fun, very easy. But I was planning on making it so that there was like a little lava bit on the other side of this. However, I do plan on making a bigger one because I like gold and I like having golden apples. So I might, just because it's there. Over here, what I have is a little station for rotten flesh. This little mine cart will collect all the rotten flesh from right here, and we'll go around, and we'll drop rotten flesh into these chests. And then whenever I feel like collecting them and getting money, I'll just come by and go to each chest, spill out every single one of rotten flesh, and put it into a shulker box. I have this chest for apples and carrots, however I don't need these carrots anymore, I can just go buy some. But these apples, I need to turn into golden apples. Over here I had to like put a half slab on top of these because piglins would start spawning on there and I did not want that to happen. And that is it for the golden farm. Now there is one farm that isn't attached to anything, so I will in fact have to use my elytra. So we're gonna swim over here. Yeah, we're gonna swim and chat. So here we have my frog lamp farm, but also could be used as magma cream farm. Same thing as the, what's it called? Slime farm. What'll happen is that these golems should hit the magmas, and the magmas should drop down and get eaten by the frogs. Now down here, I do have to be careful with this farm because when I load in the chunks, I could be hit with whatever, with the thing. I could be hit with the thing. Thank gods, nothing is here. So what these two are, it's a ghast farm. And simple gas tiers, gunpowder. But what happens is that the ghasts will spawn on the magmas, and then there is snow in a pattern on top of these. And we'll... What did I collect? Oh, 2 pale oak leaves. I don't know why I had those floating around. But they will die because of the snow. And that is it for the farms on the Nether Roof. Now, the reason why I have animals on the Nether Roof is because I was moving them from Project Villager over to spawn. However, I don't have a place for them in spawn just yet, so they have just been kind of vibing up on the roof. But I've also been collecting animals from different biomes, such as the ocelots and the parrots. I did have pandas, but they are currently in their little home that I shown earlier. Blah. So we got goats. This is from like early hardcore. We got the parrots and the ocelots, which I got them very early on, or not early on. When did I get these? It wasn't like 5 months ago that I got them. I got a black cat and a frog. This was the first black cat, I think? Question mark. And then we have my dogs. We have Evelyn and Steve, which I haven't named them just yet. Just yet. And we have camel and horses that I had over at Project Villager. And there's nothing too special about the Nether Roof, really. So we should move down to the Nether Floor. However, the Nether Floor, we don't really have to go walking as much, because I did make a train system up down there too. I like my trains. And this is the portal that takes us to the Nether Floor-ish. But I go in here and go up these ladders, and there is a train station that I made to 2 farms that are really important for this whole hardcore deal. I did forget to mention on the Nether Roof there are 2 spots where I had made a square. One for Kingdom Coal and one for Ignited Light. However, you guys will never see it until the project does happen. Wait. Oh, that's cool. Sorry, I had like installed mods onto my hardcore world for the first time recently, and it's yummy. So we have made it to the Blaze farm. What happens is that the blaze spawns in this little box, and they will slowly float down. I put a slab on top so that they don't spawn on top. And I had to put half slabs on the roof bit so that they don't spawn up there either. Then we go down here, and we already got some blaze rods from before. Over here, I do have a little area where I go, bomb the floor for, netherite. Just because more netherite, more fun. let's go pay a visit to the Wither skeleton farm. Originally, this farm was supposed to have 2 layers, but on the first layer, every single time a Wither skeleton would drop down, it would kill layer number 2's, piglin. So I reduced it to 1 layer, which is plenty, more than plenty, really. So come over here. And you can already hear them dropping in. And they shut up for about 1 second. They don't even shut up. See, they just keep on going. They just keep on going. I'm rich. I'm rich. What's above here is a piglin smack dab in the middle. Each side, the wither skeletons will drop down and will aggro onto the piglin, and then they will come over to the middle and will drop down to here. I do have a lot of chests that will go down into here, and as you can tell, it's been a while since I've been here because my poor copper golems kind of just frozen. They froze. But I made it so that there's at least 9 chests in here. 2 of them is for stone swords, 3 coal, 3 is for bones, and then it's repeated again and again and again. However, it's been to the fact that it's only this one and the one behind it that's actually doing things. Making sure that it's nothing really important. So I might just make it so that I am the only one that has to do it. So I'm gonna remove all these copper golems in the future and make it bare. Originally, what I had done for one of the many things. Hey, and you can actually see up here too. Let's see, can I get another one to drop down? Please? Yep. See? They aggro over to this side and bada bing, bada boom. Cute. But what I might do is just remove all of this and make it bare. And make it so that I am the one that has to, like, put things away. Anyways, originally what I had done is a auto sorter, but I thought that was too slow, just like these copper golems. And that is it. That is it for the Nether. Nothing too important has happened in the Nether, so now it is time that we go to the end. Alright, and we made it to the end portal. Well, the end Nether portal. Portal. Alright, here we are. I don't really remember why I had these. I think it was for when I was building out to my first end city. When we first step in, we are met with these little platforms, because I have another portal that I destroyed the rims and used it as like a sand duper. Some people are against the duping, some are for the duping. I'm in the middle. I like it, but I don't like it. In here, we have 3 little outlets. There's one that goes into the official outing, and then we have 2. One that goes to the end farm, and one that goes to the portal back home. So down here, I have glass underneath these leaves, because I keep on getting scared that eventually these leaves are just gonna poof out of nowhere. And then I have water on top of these logs so that endermen don't spawn on top of them whenever I have this going. Now, usually what I do is just hit them. However, today I have made it an exception. So, in my chat, what I might just start doing is Enderman Redemptions, where you can either do a water, which I don't get so much XP from, or we can do an ooze. Alright, so what happens is I hit them with the ooze, and then slime. And usually they'll die of entity cramming in here, and I can just hit them. And the baby shouldn't be able to get out? Question mark? Come on. Guess not? Is their thing too big? They are too big. By like 1 pixel. However, I'm pretty sure if I got too close, they would still be able to hit me. Come on. Nope. Yeah, they're still... Okay. And I could just grab them. Grab the slime balls. Or I can just leave them. But why would I do such a thing like that? Over here we have a enchanter, where if I just need books, quick, fast, and easy, I'll just come over here, get levels, enchant, and whatnot. We also have brewing stands, and a little water puddle. So if I want to do, like, the water checks, or the ooze checks, just come over here, quickly brew them, splash them. I also have anvils for when I want to build things together. And that is it for this section. Actually, nope, never mind, I'm a liar. Over here, we have the Ender Pearl departure, where all the Ender Pearls will go into here and go in there, and eventually will be shot out. And usually, whenever this thing fills up, I like to sit here and talk to chat and let this thing go. We have gotten most of everything checked out. There are 2 things that I wanna show off. Over here we have a little thing for eggs. And we have a little section where we have for withers. What I'll do is I'll set 2 skulls here, and then I'll put in the eggs into here, and then shoot them off into there, making sure that this is closed. And then when I'm ready is I'll squat over here and place the last skull down, and then go back here, wait for it to pop, and I'll get wither roses. And then eventually a wither star. Or wither star, yeah. So a little while ago, I had killed the rest of the 19 dragons and opened up all the portals. And now that I'm thinking about it, I have yet to actually go through one of these portals. Let's do that now, actually. That was fun. Alright. So now that I got an achievement, I'm good. Back to the final announcement. The project for 2026. Let's go down, because it is in the end. Okay. I'm gonna go down here. Okay. So, the project for 2026 is called V.I.L.L.I.G.E.R. Now that doesn't really say much of anything, except just I. We're gonna be doing it in here. However, the reason why we're at the bottom is because we're going to be making a whole eyeball around the whole end island. However, I am having a difficult time debating on whether or not I want to do it green or purple. Can I swim? Please. Thank you. but that is the end project, is making a whole eye around the end. And we're going to be encasing it in water, because why not? It'll be safer for me because I am a klutz. But I've been thinking about this project since before doing the hardcore world. And that is the end of my world tour for 2025. Thank you for supporting me throughout this challenging year of being in hardcore. I nearly died several times, like 5 times? Question mark? I don't remember. But I do want to say that yes, I will be finishing Project Villager before starting the Eye, because I like to finish my projects before starting a new one. As for the second part of Project Villager, I am going to be mining out the whole thing on my own, and then decorating with you guys. Before I go, I do want to say that I did in fact change my username of my main channel because we are migrating to a new Twitch channel. The reason being is because 90% of my followers are follow for follows, and no one goes into there. So what I plan on doing is making a new Twitch and starting a new community. So here is the new one, and here is the main one. I will be streaming on the main one for a good while until I reach a certain amount of followers on the new one. But anyways, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye! As you guys know, in my Discord or my Twitch, I had said that I was going to do a stream where I made the gingerbread house. However, while recording the gingerbread house, the power in my house went out, and all the footage that I had just went away. I don't know where the hell it went, but it's gone. However, I did get some photos of the gingerbread house. That's not very put together, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but it doesn't go into timeline of how the gingerbread was house. Yeah, the gingerbread was house. Another thing that I did want to bring to the table was that if you remember earlier this year, or earlier of 2025, some of you might know that I did a stream for my 18th birthday where I made a cake. During the stream, I only had like my hands and arms in camera view because I don't want to face reveal. I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I'll be ready for that in the next couple of years. But when I went back to look at the VOD, I realized that I hated the way that my hands and arms looked. So while recording the gingerbread house, I wore my gloves for my Air cosplay. And I gotta say, it was absolutely difficult to to build the house with my gloves on. So I don't think I'll be able to do any IRL content for a good while. But thank you to those who were there for that stream, and thank you for being here, basically, and supporting my stupid little dream of becoming a content creator. I did have some photos, like I said, so I will promptly give those photos right now.